All right. I'm already like, I don't know. We'll see where this goes. So hello, good morning, Suzanne, Joy, and Deborah, LeeAnn here, and we are here to continue talking about the ecstatic leader, who is one of the beings who holds one of the pillars of the School of Light Collective. And as we drive through her activation sequence, her hologenetic profile, her gene key profile. We talked last week about her life's work, and this week we're talking about the evolution of uh, what we're all here to learn by when we step into what does it mean to be an ecstatic leader and play with this archetype. What is that? What is it? So her evolution, which feels so timely and is also the programming partner of her life's work, is universal love. And how can this be a challenge for a light being, you ask? Well, I think because she's got a she's got a lot of work to do if she's working with all of us humans on this 3D plane. And the shadow of this particular gene key is um, uh, what is it? I can't, all of a sudden I can think of it. It's not
Constriction.
acceptance. Yeah, it's constriction, which is what I'm feeling in my words and my mind right now. And how that turns into the gift of acceptance. And then from there we can grow into the universal love. Um, and the beautiful thing is I love how Susanne and I planned this schedule. I don't know how it happened, but how it plays with the pulse this week of the Gene Key 64. And by the way, we're talking about Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. And there will be a link if you want to read more about him or the book or any of the materials in the commentary below. So this pulse of Gene Key 64 plays with confusion to the gift of imagination and up into the beautiful civic state of illumination. So as we see the two shadows dancing together, that's easy for me because that was a part of my whole night last night of wrestling with these two shadows. And it's the whole thing of constriction and um like you have to help me with the words of um
Did you say confusion?
confusion, which is where I'm sitting. I hope you're gonna have to just talk from here on out. So but then coming to the gifts, which really are so beautiful, and those have to do with the gift of acceptance and the gift of imagination. Oh, and then we get to play. Then we get into the universal life and ecstasy. I mean, universal love and ecstasy, which to me, you know,
Illumination.
yeah, illumination and
Yeah.
so as we play, you can see how I'm I'm going to be the shadow side today. You're going to have to light me up over there, Miss Suzanne, but you're always good about that. Help me out here because I have been hanging out in the confusion, which is a lot of constriction. And you know what? According to Richard Rudd, when I was listening to the audio of his Gene Keys, um, the audio transmissions, the 64 ways, it takes time. The longer and the more that we try to dig ourselves out of confusion,
Yeah.
guess what we create? Yeah. So,
Yeah. Well,
who else?
and this is like
Yeah.
the initiation, right? So this is the
Oh
sixth
God.
initiation in the sacred seals. And when we're playing in that, I mean, um it's a very advanced stage of the awakening. But what's really not it's the sixth initiation, it's the third seal, so it's heals shame. And what I love when I think about the higher states, when they do arrive, that's where fear is removed from our DNA. Like we just won't need it. It's not going to be necessary. But this, the pulse is all about the ring of humanity. I mean, this is the life in it. But
sometimes I'm like, do I have to be human? Do I have to feel all this stuff? But I know the non-human, I mean, I know that the higher beings are like, we are their eyes and their sensory organ, so that when we feel everything, whether it's the beauty of an orgasm or the awe of a sunset or the, or the yuckiness of this confusion that I'm hanging out in, they're like, yeah, cool. Because they get to sense, they get to feel it through us. So this is part of what it means to be human. Sorry, folks, it's not all beauty and roses.
Well, the seal, this is the 20, I'm talking about the
25.
Yep. Her evolution. When we can feel into that future humanity, we will then recognize that we aren't separate, that we're all part of one large system. And that's where the fear is then dissipating. And when we serve, we're serving the whole. We're not self-serving. We are actually serving one another. We're serving ourselves and we're serving one another. And the future of humanity, that's that universal love. I mean, that's where we came from. This is where we're returning to. And the vibration that he was talking about, that we experience when we are in the fear state, is our own mortality. And so we feel that anxiousness in our cellular bones. I mean, because it's like, much like when you probably came on the planet, you're trying to figure everything out. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I have this life. And then where do I go? What's going to happen to me? If I die, like what's going to happen?
And that's what the difference is with children, because children don't know they're going to die.
Right.
And so they come in and they're like, woohoo, but they don't realize that there's a limit. Our human lives have a
expiration date.
Good way to say it.
But we don't.
Yeah.
And even though we may have an expiration date, doesn't mean that we stop existing. I mean, this is that belief system that to understand that we are energy and that we continue on. But what I really found so yummy about the 25 is that when you finally recognize that giving is just as powerful as receiving, that's the gift. That's the universal love that we are here to express while we're here now.
So for me, I just want to come at it from where I'm sitting in the states that I'm sitting in, which is, I want to be honest, is not, it's a lot of constriction and confusion. But so to get to the acidic states, that feels really far away. So I want to play with, how do we recognize, because it's always there. This is the thing about the shadow, is it never goes away. So how do we recognize, oh, I'm holding my breath, or, oh, I just closed the door on an opportunity to receive love. Like my partner, John, just asked me, so what can I do to help you? And I was like, I don't even know. And I went, okay, wait a minute. I do know. A hug would be awesome. You know what I mean? But I immediately go to,
Right.
And my little girl was, yeah. So I want to be able to go, oh yes, I do know. I want to breathe in, soften, and then I can think a little bit more into the gift. But I would like to talk about the gifts
Okay.
a bit. I mean, it allow I'm typically all about like, let's talk about the acidic states because it gives me something to move into or to aspire to or to feel into that this is possible.
And he talks about when he I'm talking about Richard, when he talks about the gift state and the like being in that state, there are three words that come directly to mind, and that is allow, accept, and embrace. And so with those three states, it's physical, it's emotional, and then it's mental.
Yeah, and
And
this is his whole. He does a whole great YouTube on how to shift from shadow to gift.
yeah,
So thank you for bringing that forward. So talk about that a little bit more about which of the states, which one do you handle first? Is it physical?
I would think, yeah, because of safety, when you don't feel safe in your own body, you're you're not present.
You skip
And
out. Okay.
yeah, so staying in the body, doing something with your hands, making sure that you know that you're here and that you're present to win is one of the first tools that you can use in your toolbox. And then this,
Breathing. Yeah, that's why I think he says we always start with the breath, right?
yes, the
So
breath. Breathing is key. And then, of course, having full contact with our feelings. And so,
even the
and
yucky one.
that to me, I sometimes disassociate with feelings. So I acknowledge that. Um, and so,
And you don't even like to feel other people's feelings. So
no, no,
I
but
know
I mean,
when I bring my yuckiness to you, sometimes you're like, oh, you just want to help me get out of it so quickly. And I'm like, honey, you're just gonna have to let me be
yeah,
here.
well, and I do empathize because I've learned over the years, and this is my emotional wisdom, to be able to be a screen and not a sponge. So I
Ah,
can sense when somebody is in a space, I can hold the space, but I don't have to absorb that
yeah.
energy. And I
And
can
that's
be
good
there.
for healers. We can't, otherwise we would be overloaded all the time.
Right. That's the salt lamp. So
I love that. Which, just so you all know, the inside joke there is Susanne is kind of known to be a salt lamp. She absorbs a lot of negative energy when she walks into a room or is at an event. Thank you, darling, for being
you're
that for
welcome.
me.
So we can be present and have full contact with those feelings or emotions and just be with them and hold them gently. And then thirdly, that breath into the belly where we then the mind lets go because the ego wants to try and control what the circumstance might be. And so once we can let that go, we can have allow our soul to kind of have its wildness and a little bit of freedom so that constriction can be
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah
Softened. Yeah.
softened. And this is really a slowing down process. This is not something that is speedily done, although
No.
I've become more efficient. um that's just my state of being, of how I operate. But um yeah, it is bowing to life in a peaceful way and acknowledging that it's moving in its own way.
Yeah. And by the way, this is the mudra, which looks very familiar to most of us for universal love.
Mm.
And it's just, a lot of times in yoga poses, we actually take our thumbs and put them into the heart space. We don't need to. We just need to hold it and be connected in that way.
And I love the fact that this key, the 25th, the evolution of this being, is all about the breath of love. We came from the breath of love and we return to the breath of love. It softens our hearts. We turn toward our body and we let go of that personal dimension and become connected again.
Right. And we can connect to our human, wounded, anxious, constricted self. I mean, what a beautiful thing when we can find compassion for ourselves when we're there. Because I have gotten much better. I noticed for a long time my spiritual arrogance was like, you should be like, get over it. Like, you should be done with this. You've already spiraled through. I mean, it was like, you have all the tools, so do something. And now I'm going, oh, I don't need to be so judgy. I mean, and that amps up the constriction versus allowing it. Oh, this is where I am right now. Kind of yucky, honey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like a self-soothing, or a mother soothing a young child who fell and hurt her knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about universal love, I'm coming back to this because it's related also to the ecstatic. And he says that it's not fiery love, like passionate love of an ecstatic, but it's a deep compassion. It's includes personal love, but knowing that we are one. So it's deeply compassionate, not passionate like ecstatic, but universal love is holding that space for all.
It's to me, it feels like it's the interconnectedness.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it feels like we're all, it's the feeling you, feeling me, feeling the trees, sensing me, feeling the sky, seeing me as I see the sky. It's that to me is universal love too, right? It's kind of the connecting force that we live in. But how do we play with that let's play with that in this pulse, because right now, when we are in the space of acceptance, can we also play in imagination? And this is what lights me up. I have this gene key in my profile as well. It's my culture, and it's how I'm supposed to hang out with my community, which just feels so weird. I'm like, where? An imagination station? Like, come play in my imagination station? That sounds like a PBS kids show. Actually, not a bad idea.
I've had that one a few times. Yeah.
I know you say that, and I'm like, so to play with that, I want to just say I do have to get to a place of acceptance that it's okay to play, that it's okay to slow down enough to daydream, to allow my mind to wander, to do something that could be significant, like washing the dishes, or not significant, like sitting outside drinking coffee, looking at the trees. I mean, it could be, but the point being is that is where imagination happens, or it's where we actually cultivate imagination. Because you don't know. He talks about it like it's a lightning strike. You don't know when and how it's going to happen. But if we don't have a garden with the seeds planted, we're not going to have it. And I know that when I cut off, literally constrict, my when I feel like I need to be busy, like I need to get things done, then the first thing that goes is play. The first thing that goes away is the time to just sit and do nothing, which is what cultivates those moments when we go, wow, I just thought of this. What about that? Yeah. And the mind-blowing stuff, which I am so ready for. And I know it's probably right around the corner because I've been sitting in this fallow state of, it just feels so barren, like I'm walking on the moon and there's nothing exciting going on.
Well, I think too, when we're in this kind of pulse, there's a lot of uncertainty, and people feel discomfort from uncertainty, right? because we don't know what the next turn might be. But what if we flip it and kind of go, ooh, we don't know what the next turn might be.
Which means it could be anything, which,
It could be
wow, what do we,
anything.
yeah.
Wow. Exactly. So a lot of it, the gift is about trusting that transformational path to, and then you know when to take action. And so you don't have to take, like, if you just clutter yourself with all the to-dos and all the blah, you may not be able to see the forest through the weeds, or whatever that saying is.
Like my planner, you can't even see the week because it's written every day. Right. Is so
unexpected.
You just brought up a really, really good thing. What did you say? It was like oh poop, now it's gone. But there's something really stunning about allowing it to happen. And it's also the well, first of all, the expecting and the trust that it will happen.
Yeah.
And I know, I was going to talk about the caterpillar in the cocoon. We've heard this a bazillion times, but the caterpillar goes and builds that little cocoon, completely turns into mush, like, disintegrates. Everything that they were isn't anymore, but the cells are in there to rebuild and then pop out of that cocoon as a butterfly.
I know. One of the most amazing things on the planet, right?
Talk about a metamorphosis, which is what our sister Trish with her metamorphics program. So playing with that kind of transformation, we all want transformation. We ask for transformation, but we don't want to go sit through the yuckiness of being completely dismembered, like disassembled and reconfigured, or what do they call it in alchemy when you go through the fire, right? And so anyway, either way, it's not pretty necessarily, but it is an important part of burning away, leaving behind, destroying what was, so we can come out on the other side even more amazing and magnificent. Forgot about that. Thank you.
I've been having a lot of imagery around phoenixes lately.
I love that. Tell me more. About in your business or for you personally?
Just for me, I mean, me personally, especially in my body, and being able to change how this vehicle behaves and how it like shows up. But I mean, what we get to play with here is this vehicle, this body that has allowed us to move and be on this planet, and it has great resiliency. It has the ability to morph and change and grow. And I've just been witnessing it myself. So I kind of feel like I'm shedding so much of that old stuff, literally on the cellular level. And I don't know what's, kind of growing and becoming out of it. But this thought of us getting older, this new concept to me is just stronger, more resilient. The wisdom is coming forth. It's like all of it's in a cauldron, kind of all percolating together, so that it's like each one of us steps into that part of ourselves and recognizes our own wisdom. It's like the imagination is coming alive, and we can see all of it, right? So we can see all the various different patterns that we've come from.
Yeah.
And keeping the ones that we want, and then being like, oh, don't need that one anymore.
Yeah. What I really love is how the Magi is that word of magic, and the Magi, the person who does magic, all of that is inside of imagination. I mean, it is and I've always thought alchemist made a lot of sense to describe who I am and what I do in the world, as a paradigm shifter. But I do know that imagination always felt so childish. you know? And I thought, oh, but it's not. I
Let's
mean,
upgrade.
yeah. I
Let's
mean, well,
upgrade that belief system that it was childish, because imagination is what's helping our evolution. This is the ring of alchemy. This is our ability to create anew in a way that we've never done before. And if
this is what we need for innovation.
Exactly what we need. Exactly.
So, and I get that at this level, but it is not in my cells yet. So I can feel the different levels of awareness waking up. But yeah, I notice I have kind of an aversion to imagination. I'm like, oh, it's childlike. Oh, it's a PBS children's show. Oh, it's
Why don't this is that story that, oh, because we're a certain age, you kind of are knocking your childlikeness away.
And you're speaking to this beautiful elder wisdom that's coming in, and I get it, because I'm like going, talk about being elder and I want to still be of use I want to still be serving with purpose. I still want to be, I mean, universal love is my purpose, for God's sake. I mean, it's like, it's what I want to be and do. And if I'm here to do that with my community through the culture of this pulse of Gene Key 64, I'm laughing going, okay, you better wake up and smell the roses, that this is how you do it, honey. And I'm like, really? So yeah, wake up, grow up. What is it? There's wake up, grow up, clean up, and show up. Yeah. Well, I don't know what stage I'm in right now. I feel a lot like I'm in the cleaning up space. So, anything else we need to say? Oh, there's a mudra that I want to share on the imagination, which is so funny. I have looked this up so many times in the last 4 or 5 years, and I always forget it. Why? Because it's something that I'm still trying to assimilate in me, or to, start incorporating in me, literally embodying in me, right? So you take your fingers and you keep your pinkies, which we know from other mudras we've done, the pinky is so spiritually significant about the heart. And so those stay upright, everything else is folded down, and then your thumbs get tucked inside your fist. So everything is closed down except for the pinkies.
In spirit, inspiration, illumination. It's connecting directly to source.
With acceptance and love.
Yeah.
My body likes it. It's funny how it can sense. I can sense the shift in my body just by holding this. And I have a feeling if I practice this throughout the day, it might help me rewrite my whole story about imagination.
Well, this is the staying in the body, staying with the body, right? So these mudras, I think that's the beautiful aspect of the mudra, is it's allowing you to be mindful and be present in your body at the same time,
while feeling the spiritual energies flow through us, because they actually do activate the opening for this state within. So it's kind of to me, I feel like it's plugging in to the Siddhic state so that we can, but yes, very much about it, the embodiment of it.
So for this week, I want to read the affirmation as you hold this. Okay.
Absolutely. Will do.
And this is from Karen Curry Parker's Human Design. I am a conduit for expansive thinking. My inspirations and ideas create the seeds of possibilities in my mind and in the mind of others. I honor the dreams that pass through my mind and allow my big ideas to stimulate my imagination and the imagination of others. I trust the universe to reveal the details of my dreams when the time is right. And I use the power of my dreams to stimulate a world of possibility and expansion.